I'm Sarah Bennett, 32 now, and here's the raw deal. 8 years ago, I had a life that felt like a warm blanket. Cozy, safe, mine. Back then, I was 24, living in a little blue house in a Denver suburb with Greg, my high school sweetheart turned husband. We'd been hitched 3 years, had a scruffy mutt named Rusty who'd chew anything, and a half-baked dream of kids running around someday. Greg was a broad-shouldered guy with a lazy grin and hands that could fix a sink or pull me close, and I was the quiet half, messy blonde hair, green eyes, content to keep our world spinning. Then it all blew up, literally, and the man I saved turned out to be the one who'd bury me. It was a Tuesday, late fall, the kind of day where the air smells like frost and wood smoke. Greg was fiddling with the furnace in the basement, grumbling about a leak he'd get to, while I chopped onions for stew in the kitchen. Rusty was sprawled by my feet, tail thumping. Then I smelled it. Gas, sharp and wrong, creeping up the stairs. "Greg!" I yelled, heart kicking up. He shouted back, "It's fine, just a valve." But it wasn't. I bolted down, saw him fumbling with a wrench, the hiss growing loud, and panic hit me like a freight train. "Get out!" I screamed, shoving him toward the stairs. He stumbled up, and I turned to grab Rusty, just as the spark caught. The blast was a roar, heat, light, a wall of force that flung me back. I don't remember hitting the ground, just waking up in a hospital bed, my head foggy and my legs gone. Below the knees, nothing but bandages and a dull, gnawing ache. Tubes snaked from my arms, machines beeped, and a nurse with soft eyes leaned in. "You're a hero, Sarah. You saved him." I blinked, tears stinging. "Greg?" She nodded. "He's fine. Some burns, but walking." Relief hit, then pain, sharp, clawing everywhere. I'd lost my legs to keep him alive, and back then, I thought that'd mean something. Greg came by that first week, eyes red, hands stuffed in his pockets. "Jesus, Sarah," he muttered, staring at the floor. "You didn't have to do that." I forced a smile, voice hoarse. "Couldn't let you fry, right?" He nodded, quick, but didn't meet my eyes. I chalked it up to shock. Hell, I was still reeling, my world flipped upside down. The doc said I'd adapt, get prosthetics eventually, but for now, it was the chair. Cold metal, wheels that squeaked, a new skin I didn't want. My best friend Claire showed up too, all hugs and teary promises. "We'll get through this," she said, squeezing my hand. I believed her, trusted them both, like a fool. A month in, reality cracked open. Greg's visits thinned out, once a week, then every other, then nothing. I'd call, leave voicemails, "Hey, just checking in," and get silence. Claire was around more, fussing over me, but something felt off, a glitch I couldn't pin. Then I saw it, rolling up our driveway in my wheelchair after therapy. There they were, Greg and Claire, locked in a kiss by his truck, her hands in his hair, his on her waist. My chest caved, a hollow burn spreading fast. He saw me, froze, and said, "You're too much now, Sarah. I can't." Claire wouldn't look at me. I wheeled inside, grabbed what I could, clothes, Rusty's leash, and left. 8 years later, that moment still cuts, but it's the fire that forged me. Part 2. Conflict with husband, betrayal and abandonment. That kiss in the driveway was the first crack, but what came after shattered me clean through. I rolled into our little blue house, mine, ours, whatever it was, head spinning, hands trembling on the wheelchair grips. Greg followed me in, boots scuffing the hardwood, Claire trailing like a shadow. "Sarah, wait," he said, voice low, like he was calming a spooked horse. I spun the chair around, facing him, my throat tight. "Wait for what, Greg? You to explain why my husband's lip-locked with my best friend?" He flinched, rubbing his neck, burns still red on his hands from that damn furnace. Claire hovered by the door, eyes on the floor, her blonde curls a mess I used to tease her about. "It's not what you think," he started, but I cut him off, voice sharp. "Don't. I saw it. Don't lie." He sighed, heavy, and dropped the bomb. "You're too much now, Sarah. The chair, the doctors, all of it. I can't handle this. My chest burned, a hollow ache swallowing me whole. I lost my legs saving you, I said, slow, each word a blade. And you can't handle it? He looked away, jaw tight. I didn't ask you to. I'm sorry, okay? But Claire, she gets me through this. Claire finally piped up, voice small. I didn't mean for it, Sarah, I swear. I laughed, bitter and raw. Sure you didn't. Days blurred after that. Greg packed a bag that night, moved into Claire's place 2 streets over, our dog Rusty whining at the door like he knew something was dead. I'd sit in the living room, staring at the scorch marks still faint on the walls, my stumps throbbing under bandages. Claire stopped by once, all teary-eyed and fake. I'll help you, Sarah, whatever you need, she said, hands twisting her scarf. I waved her off, voice flat. Don't bother. She left, and I didn't see her again. Not till later, anyway. Greg called once, a week on, voice clipped. I'll send money for the house till you figure it out. We're done. Click. No fight, no tears, just gone. The silence in that house was a weight I couldn't carry. Neighbors peeked through curtains, pity in their nods when I wheeled to the mailbox. But no one knocked. I'd lie awake on the couch, couldn't face our bed, listening to the clock tick, feeling like a ghost in my own life. One night, Rusty curled up beside me, his wet nose nudging my hand, and I broke. Tears hit hard, soaking my shirt, my whole body shaking. Not for my legs, those were gone, but for the man I'd loved, the friend I'd trusted, both snatched away when I was already down. By morning, I knew I couldn't stay in Denver, couldn't haunt a graveyard of what we'd been. I sold the house quick, $1,500 cash after the mortgage, a pittance for 3 years of us. Packed what fit in 2 duffels, clothes, a cracked photo of me and Greg at prom, Rusty's leash. The rest, his tools, her old mixtapes, I left for the new owners. A cab rolled up, driver a grizzled guy named Tony who didn't blink at the chair. Where to? He asked, hoisting my bags. Seattle, I said, voice steady for the first time in weeks. Anywhere but here. He nodded, helped me in, and as we peeled out, I watched that blue house shrink in the rear view. Rusty's head rested on my lap, my hands tight on the armrests, heart pounding with a mix of dread and something wild. Freedom, maybe. Seattle was my shot, a rainy, loud city that didn't know me or my wreckage. I landed in a dingy studio above a fish market, $1,500 stretched thin for rent, and a beat-up laptop. Greg and Claire could have each other. I was out. But that hollow ache? It stuck around, a quiet fuel I didn't know I'd need. They'd left me for dead, but I wasn't done breathing yet. Seattle hit me like a cold slap. Rainy, gray, and loud enough to drown out the echoes of Denver. That first night in my studio, a cramped box above a fish market that reeked of cod and despair, I sat with Rusty by the window, watching water streak the glass. My stumps ached under their wraps, the wheelchair felt like a cage, and my $1,500 was already half gone. Rent, a thrift store lamp, a beat-up laptop with a sticky spacebar. I'd left Greg and Claire behind, but their betrayal clung to me, a shadow I couldn't shake. So I did the only thing I could. I wrote. It started as a rant. A blog post tapped out in the dark, keys clacking while Rusty snored. Day 1, lost my legs saving my husband. Day 30, he left me for my best friend. Day 31, I'm still here. I called it Burned Twice, hit publish, and waited. Nothing fancy, just raw, jagged words about a woman torched by fire and love, clawing her way up. By morning, comments trickled in. This gutted me. You're a fighter. My pulse jumped. Someone saw me. I kept going, posting daily, pain, fury, the little wins like figuring out how to walk Rusty from a chair. Readers piled up, hundreds, then thousands. Strangers rooting for the legless girl who wouldn't quit. 6 months in, a publisher slid into my inbox. Your blog's gold, Sarah. Book material. You in? I stared at the screen, hands shaking, then typed, hell yes. Burned twice. The book came out in 2029. Gritty, messy, me on every page. It sold like wildfire, hit the bestseller list in weeks, and suddenly I was banking $50,000, then six figures. I traded the Fish Stink studio for a sleek loft overlooking Puget Sound, all glass and light. Rusty sprawled on a rug that didn't smell like despair. The chair stayed, but I owned it now. Rolled into coffee shops, laptop balanced, typing while baristas eyed me like I was someone. Twitter became my bullhorn. Day 492. Still rolling, still writing. I'd post, and the likes rolled in. Thousands, then tens of thousands. Sarah Unburned trended once after I clapped back at a troll. Call me broken again, I dare you. People ate it up. Readers, survivors, folks who'd been kicked down too. A barista, Mia, started slipping me free lattes at my usual spot. "You're that writer," she said one day, her dark ponytail swinging. "Saw you online. Total badass." I smirked, sipping. Gotta pay the bills somehow. She grinned, and we clicked. Her no-nonsense vibe a balm after Claire's fake tears. By 2030, I was 30, speaking at bookstores and women's conferences. My voice steady, even when my stumps throbbed under prosthetics I'd finally gotten. Crowds packed in, hundreds hanging on my words about surviving the blast, the betrayal, the rebuild. "You don't need them to see you," I'd say, mic hot in my hand. "You see yourself, that's enough." A literary agent, Lisa, cornered me after a gig in Tacoma. "You've got guts, Sarah," she said, red nails tapping her card. "Let's take this bigger." My second book, Ashes Up, sold for a fat six-figure advance. I'd roll into signings, fans lining up, some in chairs, some scarred like me, saying, "You saved me." My chest would swell, a quiet fire burning. The scars didn't fade, though. I'd catch my reflection in the loft's glass doors, blonde hair tamed, green eyes harder now, and see the girl Greg left, the one Claire stabbed. Success patched the holes, but the ache lingered, a dull pulse under the winds. I'd scroll my blog's old posts sometimes, those first ragged lines, and feel the weight of how far I'd come. Money was nice, penthouse nice, but the real kick was the strangers who got it. "Lost my husband too. Your words keep me going," one wrote. I'd reply, "You're tougher than you know," and mean it. Greg and Claire were ghosts now, rumors of them shacking up in some dump, his job shaky, her promises empty. I didn't check, didn't need to. I had Rusty, my words, a life I'd carved from nothing. But ghosts have a way of rattling chains, and mine were about to knock, harder than I'd braced for. It was a drizzly spring day in 2031, and I was in Portland, signing copies of Ashes Up at a packed indie bookstore. The line stretched out the door, readers clutching books, some with canes or scars, thanking me for giving them a voice. I was mid-scrawl, "To Jen, keep rising," when a shadow fell over the table. "Sarah?" That voice, low, cracked, too familiar, hit me like a punch. I looked up, pen frozen, and there they were, Greg and Claire, standing side by side, looking like life had chewed them up and spit them out. He was thinner, stubble patchy, eyes sunken. She'd lost that glow, hair limp, clutching a frayed purse like a lifeline. "What do you want?" I asked, voice ice cold, setting the pen down slow. The crowd hushed, sensing the shift. Greg shuffled, hands in his pockets. "We need to talk, Sarah, just a minute." Claire's eyes darted, wet and pleading. "Please," she whispered. I nodded to Mia, hovering nearby, and wheeled to a corner, them trailing like scolded dogs. "Make it quick," I said, arms crossed, Rusty's old collar jingling in my mind like a ghost. Greg cleared his throat, voice shaky. "I lost my job. Construction's dried up. Claire's in debt. Bad. Credit cards. Loans. We're broke, Sarah. Lost the apartment last month." Claire cut in, desperate. "We've got nowhere to go. We thought, you've got money now, right? From the books?" My jaw tightened, a hot knot twisting in my gut. "You're asking me for cash?" Greg nodded, quick. "Just a loan, to start over. We were family once, Sarah. I know I messed up, but..." I laughed. sharp and bitter, cutting him off. Messed up? You left me bleeding in a hospital bed for her. Claire stepped closer, tears spilling. I'm sorry, Sarah. I never meant to hurt you. He was lost. I was there. Please, we're drowning. I stared, their words clawing at old wounds. The driveway kiss, Greg's, you're too much, her fake tears. You picked each other over me, I said, low and hard. I saved your life, Greg, and you ran. Claire, you were my best friend, my sister, and you stabbed me. Now you're here because your mess caught up? Greg's face darkened, a flicker of the old him. I said I'm sorry. Don't make this harder. Harder? I snapped, loud enough to turn heads. I rebuilt from nothing while you two played house. You don't get to crawl back when it falls apart. Claire grabbed my arm, voice breaking. We'll die out there. Help us. I yanked free, chair rolling back. Fix your own damn mess. You're not my problem. Greg's eyes narrowed. You owe me. I'd be dead without you. I stared, then laughed again, cold. And I'd have legs without you. We're done. They didn't stop, followed me to the lot, pleading as Mia ushered me to the car. Just $1,000, Claire yelled, mascara streaking. I slammed the door, told the driver, go. Back home, my phone lit up. Calls, texts. We're sorry. You're heartless. I blocked them, hands steady for once, and tweeted, some bridges burn for a reason. Marned Sarah unburned. It blew up. Retweets, cheers, strangers clapping back at the ghosts I'd buried. I leaned back in my loft, Puget Sound glinting outside, and felt the weight lift. They'd left me for dead once. I wasn't saving them now. Cutting Greg and Claire loose felt like kicking off a pair of boots that never fit. Tight, heavy, gone. I was 32 now, and my life was a far cry from that charred blue house in Denver. My loft in Seattle was all glass and steel, perched high with Puget Sound sparkling below, a view that hit me every morning like a quiet wind. I'd roll out to the balcony some nights, rain misting my face, and just sit, Rusty's memory beside me. No ex-husband whining, no ex-friend sobbing, just me, my chair, and a world I'd built from the ashes. Ashes Up was climbing charts, Hollywood sniffing for a film deal, and my bank account had more zeros than I'd ever dreamed. I'd pinch myself sometimes, half expecting to wake up back in that hospital bed, but the view said it. This was mine. Success didn't scrub the scars clean, though. I'd catch my reflection in the glass, blonde hair pulled back, green eyes sharper now, and see the woman they'd ditched, the one who'd dragged herself up anyway. My phone buzzed nonstop, readers tagging me, thanking me for Burn Twice, saying it kept them breathing. One stuck with me, a guy named Ryan, 25, who'd lost a leg in a bike crash. Your story's why I didn't give up, he wrote. I typed back, you're tougher than you think, my throat tight. It wasn't just about me anymore. Every post, every talk, was a rope for someone else. I'd gone from a ghost to a voice, and damn, people listened. Greg and Claire,